Hi, I'm going to go over the data for the first 2 weeks for the Wilds of Eldraine draft and the best cards to start out with and the color balance that's been going on so far in the set. I'm going to give you the top 10. I'm going to give you some examples of the trophy lists that have gone on after first picking these cards. And again, this is from the first 2 weeks. This data is a little bit raw. I expect the top two to change pretty drastically, but this is how it is so far. All this data comes from 17lands.com. So to go over the color balance, there's a very clear color hierarchy with red at the top, blue at the bottom. And I want to say usually the best color is the most picked. This is something that happens almost every time. Even if people aren't playing optimally, they can at least figure that one out. Red is being significantly underdrafted. If you want to start somewhere, if you want to default, I would go with red. And you should be pushing yourself to be in red. It's definitely one of the better colors. For the numbers that are featured on here, the main one is going to be the 6+ wins percentage rate to convert from first picking this card and then trophying overall. The overall pack one, pick one trophy rate is about exactly 20 points. And the other thing to look out for is the total number of pack one, pick ones. This is just how confident you can be in the data if it's accurate or not. If it's below 200, I think this is a little bit unconfident. The other thing to look for is the main deck percentage and the penalty at the end, which is this card was first picked and the person did trophy with this. However, the card was not included in the main. It's up to you if you want to include this penalty or not. Wanted to go over the bonus sheet. It's very good for money reprints. Unfortunately, not too good for limited. Only two of the cards on the bonus sheet are above average pack one, pick ones. And if you want to see the other ones, you can go look. There should be a sheet linked in the description below. Going over some of the trophy winning lists with Bitter Blossom pack one, pick one. It lets you take a lot more combat tricks. It lets you be a little bit more loose on your creature count because it provides so many bodies. And it helps to be in a control deck because you do ultimately want to stall out the game. It also helps to have some life gain to mitigate the life loss, because if you are stalling out with this, you should be worried your life total is going to get pretty low. So it helps to have some food generation, helps to have some life gain, and a way to eventually win the game. The other one on the bonus sheet that is worthwhile mentioning is Hatching Plans. It's also the best non-rare blue card. It goes best into the multicolor bargain decks. I can sacrifice it to Brave the Wilds. And it's just good in generic decks that have a lot of bargain targets as well. The most winning common of the set didn't make the top 10, but I definitely want to include it on here because, again, red aggressive is really important. Cut in, very strong, very first pickable. Please take it higher if you want to be winning your drafts. It kills something and it creates some value for you, which in limited is a huge get. It's best in red-white, which is still being underdrafted, very strong. And it's really one of the cards that just breaks an opponent's defense. It's your curve topper in an aggressive deck, which is really great to have, not at 5 mana or 6 mana. Your curve topper is at 4 and it will win the game. Rough Triplets is number 10, and it's a huge bomb. It's odd that it is at number 10. It does have some weaknesses just from being green. It helps that you do have some rentals available to you in green, so you can bring it out early. However, it's just worth noting that the 6 mana, a lot of the games are over before you get to 6 mana because this format's really fast. Red is really, really strong. So please don't just assume you're going to win because you first pick a Gruff Triplets. There are a lot of things that are outperforming it because people aren't playing it as well as they could. Number 9 is Lord Skitter's Sewer King. It's a 3-drop, really great draft bomb. I've talked about this in other videos. Usually black bombs do tend to overperform because there's lots of ways to bring them back. Lord Skitter makes a lot of bargain values, so it goes well for that, and also puts you into red-black rats, which is the best deck in the format. Awesome pack one, pick one to start out with. Virtue of Loyalty is the only white card on the list. It's the best performing white card, and it's an early play, and it sets up this inevitable win-the-game enchantment because this grows your creatures over time. It's good enough that makes some of the weaker color combinations like white-black viable, and it rewards you for playing lots of cheap creatures, which is something you should be doing anyways. If you can play lots of cheap creatures and get rewarded for it, you should do that. Callous Sellsword is number 7. This is one of the ones that has a little bit of a low pack one, pick one rate, so I'm not super confident on it. However, I think the adventure on this card makes it really, really strong value. First of all, you can take this early and start looking for the combos with Twisted Fealty or Erudite's Tempting Apple, where you steal a creature, then sacrifice it to hit your opponent for massive damage. And it's got another funny combo where you can play it with pump spells and basically a double damage to have your pump spells. So look out for these things if you're taking Callous Sellsword first pick. Number 6 is Virtue of Persistence. It's got the same advantages as the White Virtue does, where it's an early drop and it's got a bomb second half that eventually wins you the game, unless they can remove it. You can put it in aggressive decks, and it just has like a backdoor way to win the game in case you stall out and you can't win by attacking. And it's just the absolute perfect control card. It slows down the game by killing something. It gains you some life, and you can sit and wait back until you can cast it, play lots of removal, just stall out the game. I think White-Black has a pretty bad problem with converting wins because eventually green decks and blue decks will overwhelm you if you stall out the game. So this is one of the things that makes White-Black viable as well. Immodane's Recruiter, I think everyone is well aware of how insanely strong this is. It's being first picked a lot and still putting up huge stats, putting at number 5. It goes into every red deck that's thinking about attacking, and that is pretty much all of them already. And in red-white, it creates this huge counterattack threat. You'll make the 2 tokens. They can't attack you because they'll get hit by this massive counterattack that murders them. So you can just sit back, build out your board to eventually where you can overwhelm them. I don't know. I don't need to explain why this card's so good. Everyone knows why this card is good. Immodane's Recruiter, really crazy good card. Another obvious, really strong one is the Realm Scorcher Hellkite, the Mythic Dragon. It's huge, it has haste, it's in the best color. I like Rough Triplets. It does benefit from having some ramp, which you can get from green, you can get from the Treasure Makers in red as well. And even though you do kind of want to build a more controlling deck around your bomb, it's still good enough to go into the aggressive color combinations because it's really good. There's not much more to say about it. Number 3 is Redcap Gutter Dweller, and this is the Christmas tree card. They kept adding text to it until it fell over from all the brokenness that was on it. And like I said, with Virtue of Loyalty, anything that benefits you for spamming creatures is going to be an overvalued card. Not overvalued, but in very winning card. This also just makes a lot of low creatures, so it lets you play kind of these dorky cards like Raid Bombardment, and you can get away with it because it provides so much stuff. I said at the start, this one's kind of surprising. Edgewall in number 2. It might be a data glitch from the small number of picks, but I'm going to defend this thing. Wilds of Eldraine is a knife fight format, and a stumble can kill you, a mistake can kill you, and Edgewall in can save you from stumbles because it gives you perfect mana if it's in your opening hand. And the other thing is that when you get to the end of the game and you have nothing to do, Edgewall in just sacrifices, brings back an adventure card, which usually counts as 2 spells, and that's enough to convert wins in case you don't top deck something and you stumble with your top decks. And the fact that you get this out of a land, which costs you nothing, it doesn't commit you to any color by attacking it, by taking it pack 1, pick 1, that's incredible. So I think this may stay in the top 10. If you're not sure about what to pick, if there's not an obvious pick in the pack and you see an Edgewall in, just take the thing. Don't think about it. And the number 1 top pack 1, pick 1, a little bit strange, Monstrous Rage. Again, red aggro is being underdrafted, and the people that are going for it are going to take trophies. It's hard to deny how insanely powerful Monstrous Rage is. It's usually going to be your second spell for a double spell turn. It's going to kill a creature that blocks an attacker, and it leaves you something behind. You're getting all of that for 1 mana. It's at its best in red-white because you get, on top of all those things, you get extra value from triggering Celebration from it because it's a 1 mana and creates a permanent. The other thing that I saw a lot of, because I'm digging for trophy lists, and I was trying to find red-green lists, but I actually found tons of blue-red spell sticks that built off of Monstrous Rage, pack 1, pick 1. So instead of getting celebration value from the extra permanent, what you're getting is extra value from playing this 1 mana instant that carries its own weight, makes a token for bargain. Blue-red might be getting more out of this than red-white is. So don't just assume Monstrous Rage is like only this attacking card. It's actually extremely powerful. And I didn't talk about the best blue card to pack one, pick one. That's Talon's Messenger. It came in at number 26. It goes best in blue black fairies. Again, it rewards you for playing cheap creatures, which is a pretty good thing to look out for your pack one, pick one. And it's also this really sticky creature that loots and gets bigger over time. So even if you don't have other fairies, it's still good enough on its own. If you don't like playing blue, then you can skip on it. But if you do, like, look for this card. It will be a very good place to start. And that's the end. Thanks for watching to the end. Have great drafts and good luck on your drafts.